So yeah, we're pushing for $7. Then the SEC just sent a massive signal, bigger than anyone realizes. Listen closely, XRP news today, right? So SEC sending a massive signal. What's going on in the markets, right? And the stock markets really follow crypto markets as well.
Currency. So Donald Trump posted this. So President Trump says there will be many more days like this after the US stock market adds over $1 trillion just today itself. So as the market opened, guys, we saw $1 trillion added to the valuation of the.
I feel like people overestimate, yes, $1 trillion is added to the stock markets, but it's not crypto markets. Again, if 1 trillion is in crypto markets, that's 25%. If 1 trillion is in XRP, it goes to $13 or $10 or whatever it is, right? But if you'd add 1 trillion on the stock market, it's literally going to go all around, and it might make like 2-3% gains to Amazon. So yeah, just let that sink in.
Entire stock market, and that tells you how big of a deal this really is. And this is what Donald Trump says: good day in the stock market, but there will be many more days like this. America is very rich again and stronger than ever before. Thank you for your attention on this matter. So remember, September, a lot of people are anticipating a potential rate cut, but crypto market also reacting in a really positive way.
I feel like whenever the markets recover a bit, crypto comes back and gets stronger, basically. Wants to be 10 times stronger, right? It's not giving up. And I feel like the sentiment for most people, like most people are still bullish on XRP, they're not selling. So why will they sell now? They haven't sold it at 120K. They haven't sold it 100K. They haven't sold their XRP at $1, $2. Some people sold at 3.66. I was looking at a live stream and some people literally got $200,000, $60,000. And, that made them sell. Just totally fine and normal. But we are going to be seeing a long range momentum of crypto holders entering in. We still have retail investors coming in.
Side with the
$9 max for XRP this run. Yeah, it would need a massive rally and support of US government. But this is the SEC update. Look, this is the thing that we are going to get a rate cut. That's going to really save crypto in September. And I'm going to be live streaming that as well. And it's not that far, guys. It's only 1 day, like 1 month and 12 days. So it's not really far as you guys think.
Institutions are actually projecting a rate cut of 25 BPS. Of course, some people are saying, it should be 50 BPS, 75 BPS, a full percent.
Trump said 300 BPS, but this will never happen, right? We are going to be seeing probably 90% of people say it's going to be, a large cut, like 50 BPS or whatever. But this is good enough to really to start that crypto pump.
But we don't know that. I think 25 BPS to start off would make sense, but you could see 90% people think that the rate cut will happen this time around, and I think timing is everything, and we are setting ourselves up perfectly in terms of timing aspect. If this rate cut happens, I think this would be really bullish for the crypto markets in general. And look at this: Circle IPO success inspires wave of crypto firms to consider going public. Analysts say public listings could boost mainstream adoption,
So yeah, Ripple is 100% going to go mainstream, in my opinion. It's 100% going to go for an IPO if they can achieve that. I feel like they're going to push on that to late 2026. I think they still have a lot of plans to do before they go IPO, but everybody's talking about ETFs. What about IPOs? It's like everybody's sleeping on them whenever I check it out. And IPO is a big thing that is not going to affect XRP directly. But again, the company that literally makes the coin going public, billions of dollars floating in and entering the biggest market is very big. Selling for 200K before regulations, laws, and financial institutions is ridiculous to me. All true, I understand that 200K made life-changing for some individuals. I guess they made 200K profit, so they sold maybe $500,000. You could sell like $500,000 if you have like 1 million XRP. I'm not too sure. Everyone had their own amounts, but I'm sure some whales have sold. Maybe they also bought just before the rally and sold it, for $1, $3, whatever it is, profit per coin. So that can really add up. If you have a lot of money, these whales will make more money, which is kind of how the world works, right?
Bad thing for altcoin. So exactly what your boy Crypto ZX has been talking to you guys about for quite some time. We're seeing a global shift taking place, and you're going to see crypto firms, taking advantage of this, because I think this is going to be a boom, but I don't think it's going to obviously last long term. Not all these companies that do go public are going to be here long term, but I think they're definitely going to take advantage of this specific, hype factor that's really coming in, going public, and of course, circle the types of, return that the IPO, like if anyone got in at the IPO, the types of return people have got has a lot of people talking, and I think a lot of firms are paying attention to. So I'm not
like crypto companies, Ripple is giving high returns. If it was not giving high returns, nobody would be talking about it. Let's face it, right? And that's what Ripple wants to aim. It wants to make more money for the investors, and it wants make more money for shareholders when it gets public. So it kind of makes sense, especially if you work with the US government. It's very bullish.
not surprised at this fact, and I do personally project more and more crypto firms will go public, but we need to understand not all of them are going to be, the revolutionary ones. Only a few will, and this just gives me more
Ripple.
hope for what the Ripple IPO is going to look like. I think it is going to be the biggest IPO in my personal opinion, for a crypto firm. I think it's going to even outpace Coinbase big time. But again, that's my own personal opinion. Only time will tell.
So the thing is, when Ripple goes public, all these people who own XRP will go buy it. And that will create a lot of volume, which will bring the Wall Street bets users, basically the big bettors. And Ripple IPO will basically break the internet. I feel like a lot of traders will come to trade Ripple IPO, not just XRP. And I think it's going to be a mutual benefit.
Do let me know your thoughts down below regarding this. But Bitcoin demand remains strong per crypto. Quant accumulation is rising.
Price just drops a bit, but the demand is still strong. People are still holding. Limited supply, do the math. Again, this is simple math, and it seems like strong hand stacking, Bitcoin's pressure building beneath the surface, right? Crypto Journey said.
Supply is failing. Not failing, falling, and long-term holders are still buying. And these long-term holders this time around, a lot of people forget, yes, before it was whales, maybe a few small businesses that were accumulating, but now we're talking about big billion, if not trillion-dollar asset managers coming on board, big hedge funds.
So again, they just confirmed that, they're going to have Bitcoin retirement funds and whatever, and other coins. Who knows how many more there will be that we're going to see basically pump as well. There could be billions of XRP buyers basically in this point of time. Like even if 50 million buyers, right now we have 5 million, that's still a 10x potential. It's not even a billion people. So it's not even every seventh person. That's the thing I'm trying to make with crypto. It's very early stages
coming on board. Everyone wants the accumulation. So, where we talk about that 4-year cycle no longer, in play, this gives me that understanding. This makes me kind of realize, you know what? If you look at it from that perspective, maybe the 4-year cycle no longer exists for BTC itself. 90% of the altcoins are still, 98% of the altcoins are still going to be impacted. The ones that have strong utility, the ones that have that regulatory compliance aspect to it, maybe the ones that get the ETF, I think maybe those will kind of shift away from the 4-year cycle, but let's not get that twisted though. 98% of the overall market is still going to react to the bear market, in my honest opinion. Do let me know your personal thoughts down below, of course, as to what's happening. But again, these things we don't really want to be overlooking. But take a look at this. The CFTC is launching an initiative to explore.
So this one, asset contract on CFTC regulated exchanges, and is seeking public feedback. So this is the first plan before they go literally public into crypto. The CFTC's push to list spot crypto contracts, this is XRP by the way, on regulated exchanges is exactly the kind of innovation Trump's policy leadership enables. Under Biden, crypto faced endless bureaucratic roadblocks designed to choke out American competitiveness. That's what Doge AI says. But here, what we're hearing is that right now the government is already looking how to enable XRP to be bought out on these regulated exchanges. So all the major players want lower price when it's really time to accumulate. I think so, yeah. I think XRP was super cheap at 270. But again, you never know, that could drop. And thank you for smashing that like button, guys. I really appreciate it. It takes like 1 second. So when those big whales buy Ripple stocks, they'll want to own XRP. And it goes vice versa too. Like they'll want to buy lots of stocks.
Trading spot crypto assets contracts on CFTC's regulated exchanges and is seeking public feedback. It's part of the agency broader crypto sprint announced last week by the chair, Caroline Pham. So again, big stuff happening.
Nice. This
in
is
terms
big
of
stuff.
that. We talk about mass adoption, we talk about regulatory clarity. This right here is perfectly right in front of us.
So yeah, this is just the news that it doesn't even make, there's so much news this one doesn't even make into the charts. Like we have to scout for that. That to me is crazy. But Ripple will ultimately sneak XRP into the banking mainframe through special purpose national bank charter. Now, what does that mean?
And Shatter to Smoke, says Ripple will ultimately sneak XRP into the banking mainframe through special, purpose national bank charter. So read closely.
So yeah, we kind of talked about this for some time, but there's a mad rush by non-depository financial technology companies, crypto companies engaged in the business of banking, Ripple to Circle to Wise to bit towards. So literally, Ripple is mentioned out of all. Like Coinbase was mentioned, but Ripple was mentioned by SBI. So this is a bank in USA, which would allow these firms, essentially crypto companies, to sneak into mainframe banking while bypassing intermediary banks. All this with a stamp of legitimacy. So this would basically mean that crypto companies could have their own banks.
Business of banking, Ripple to Circle to Wise to Bitcoin. Bitco towards
having their own banks is good.
Special purposes
for
national
them,
bank SPNB. Charter in the USA, which would allow these firms essentially the structure of the legal model.
So offering a 3-year grace period for all USD stablecoins should not comply with regulations set forth. They can no longer use USD in their stablecoin offering. They're non-compliant. Ripple USD is going the full distance as Ripple apply for their national charter license. Again, they want to become a bank. See, this is what's really taking time for Ripple. This is what I've been telling you guys. They're trying to go for a bank. That's what's taking the time.
In the last image, and of course, we've discussed.
And every time you smash that like, that's how I can help. That's how this can reach more people, by telling you this type of info you cannot find anywhere else.
In the past, you're already starting to see this happening. Stable coins are at the forefront, and the ones that are going to survive are the ones that have that clarity, regulatory compliance approval, and of course RLUSD checks all those boxes. And take a look at this. Paul Atkins says, we will make sure the next chapter of the financial innovation is written right here in America.
And Paul Atkins, pushing crypto companies. He's now focused on clear, tailored standards and drawing firm lines to curb SEC overreach. Again, seems like, when 2022, there was a market recession. So there was a huge market recession. Everybody was worried if they will lose their job. Crypto was really flowing down like opposite of the river. So it was really hard to swim, right? But now it's literally like a boat. It's trying to swim with all this regulation towards the moon. So everything that we get out of news after the lawsuit is now good news, which is amazing, right? Because like 1 year ago, you would literally only have bad news for Ripple, and you could only talk about bad news.
To really thrive and, make America the U.S. capital, which is already starting to happen. So again, big things happening, which a lot of people overlook, but we don't want to be overlooking this. And, look at this, the development comes on the heels of the growing institutional interest in XRP globally. And this is, with the SBI, we're going to kind of go over this to really talk about what's happening. As previously reported, the Ontario Security Commission approved the launch of 2 spot XRP ETFs in Canada in June. In the US, where the SEC has approved the launch of several Bitcoin-only spot ETFs.
So yeah, they want to do more than 11, I'm pretty sure, XRP ETFs. But you got to realize Canada already has XRP ETFs. The big money is in US ETFs, not Canada ETFs. So they're trying to push for US ETFs as well.
Then 10 asset managers receive.
But yeah, here we see that they're already like delayed. But the same thing happened with Ethereum, and later it was approved, right?
to roll out a similar product for XRP along with some of the other coins. So now Ripple, long-standing partner SBI Japan, is seeking to launch a basket ETF, comprising XRP and Bitcoin and another product tied to BTC and gold. Notably, SBI expects that Japanese financial service agencies' latest efforts to treat cryptocurrencies as legitimate financial instrument to influence approval of the ETF. So it's not just happening within the US, it's
I feel like the SEC lawsuit is soon to be over. Like, it's already non-officially over, but you got to finalize it. And I'm not sure why they don't finalize it. Maybe it's negotiation. We don't know. Something is happening behind closed doors why the lawsuit is now over. But when it is, expect a pump, right? That would be very nice.
As the start of the week, beautiful, beautiful stuff happening with the dominance. This is so important to note, and we are below our May lows, which was around the 61.9%. So I love what I'm seeing here for the dominance. And as far as BTC is concerned, Bitcoin did break above the $115,000. We actually came up to 115,700, but never really managed to stay above that range. Again, we do have some resistance around that range, but we're still above 150.
So yeah, every single day I come back to XRP. It is still looking good. It's still above $3. It's still, maybe dips a bit below. Oh no, and this is where the hype really begins. It's going to take time. Nothing is instant. But next up, we have rally to $7. XRP